peace, only war.
What is up, gents? 40K Dirtbags here. We're doing a quick video for you guys today. It's a little tactical video about Vect. So Vect changed recently. I would say since 10.5 came out, Vect is now one of the best stratagems, best abilities, best things to have on your side of the table that they have in 10.5 edition. So we're going to make a quick video on it. There's a couple units that I run in my list, like Kaldis Assassin and Cypher, and there's a bunch of them spread out through a lot of different armies in 40K. But we're going to go over the rule, what the main change was, and how you can be using it in every single game moving forward. So let's go over it real quick. Let's pull up Vect, the new wording. Okay, and here it is. So modify a stratagem's CP costs. We had no idea this was coming out. Usually with Vect, what we mean by Vect is anytime somebody were to use a stratagem, you can then increase that next time they use the stratagem by 1. It was really good when you had it in your list, and then they changed it to just work on battle tactics, which now you don't really care about battle tactics anymore because everybody gets free strats. Now they did the same thing for Vect. Vect now works on anything, not just battle tactics, battle stratagems. So with this, if a model has a role that would once per battle increase the CP cost of an opponent's stratagem, because everybody's wording is different. They basically got rid of everybody's wording and they put it into just this. So replace it with this wording, i.e. Kaldis Assassin Reign of Confusion ability. That role is replaced with the following ability, Lord of Decept. So everybody now has Lord of Decept. Each time your opponent targets a unit from their army with a stratagem, and most stratagems are like this, so basically either targeting your unit or your unit's about to target somebody else or whatever it may be, that wording is anytime that unit uses a stratagem within 12 inches of this model, increase the cost of that use of the stratagem by 1. So instantly just +1 CP every time you use it. This confused a lot of people at LSO, Lone Star Open, that we just won, by the way, so thanks for all the support. We did just win the first super major on 40K Dirtbags, but besides that, this does increase it instantly, so people have to plan ahead, especially if you see these guys on the other side of the table. If you have this, you want to plan on what they're going to be using, which again, we'll get into the tactics at the end, but this is a huge change in 40K, this little paragraph right there. There's just so much you could do with it. There's so many ideas that we haven't even comprehended on how messed up you could be with this new rolling of Vect. So that's what we're going to go over today. I drew up a little GW terrain example, just kind of show you where we're going to be putting them, and just kind of different tactics that we've been using in the previous games since this came out. We were doing it before it was cool with Cypher, with just the battle tactics. Now it's even cooler, and we're going to be using them in every single list. So let's get into this video. And if you guys haven't heard, we do have the merch updated on the Discord. If you guys are interested, head over to Discord and hit me up. We have the Kaldis Assassin up for sale. We have the Cypher, new awesome 3D print model that is up for sale. We have the poker chips, which are great for ritual and marking objectives, sticky objectives, any abilities you have on the table. Really, really cool with that. We have the new logo, the Chaos logo. We are ranked #1 Chaos Space Marine player in the world right now. We need 2 more big GTs to keep that rank of #1. All the stickers and dice and then the widgets are literally used every single game. So if you're interested in any of that, head over to Discord so you guys can purchase that and support the channel. And if you guys are Patreons, wouldn't be doing this without you. We did hit our 1,000-month goal, so we are going to be doing a giveaway coming up, hopefully right when we hit the 10,000 subscribers. We're going to do a huge live stream with a big game going on, basically Beer Hammer, where you get to put the cans down while we're watching it, do super chats, do secret missions you guys want to have happen throughout the game, and just super fun stuff like that. So that's going to be coming up soon once we hit 10,000 subscribers. But yeah, just so much coming up. So let's get into the video for you guys. All right, so here is an example of a layout terrain for this is used a lot in the tournament scene. This specific deployment setup, you can do it like diagonal deployment, you can do long deployment, you can do Dawn of War deployment. Like this setup is pretty popular with the GT scene. So we're going to be using this as an example. I love this setup because when I put my Cursed Cultists, they kind of just chill out right in this little triangle right here. But we're going to be using this little circle right here, as hopefully you guys can see pretty clearly. This is going to be our Cypher / Kaldis / model that you're going to be using with Vect. All right. So it's going to be a little bit smaller than this. It's probably about that size. So here's an example of a Rhino. You might be deploying the Rhino here, you might be deploying it up here, there, whatever it may be. But I'm going to start off with Cypher. Cypher is what we've been using recently and what we have now. But a 12-inch bubble, guys, is really, really big when it comes to the aura. So we made a little handy dandy bubble. So this little red dot is going to be your Cypher model. And the big 12-inch bubble. So I think this is a 10-inch thing, so it's a little bit bigger than that. It's about 12 inches. So this is going to be an example of how big the 12-inch aura is going to be for your guy. Let's do a little transparency so you can see where it is in the background. So this guy is going to be kind of like thrown out in these little corners behind cover, so that way they can't be seen, can't be targeted. And that's going to be your little 12-inch aura, especially if you have like a unit that you really want to charge with Armor Contempt or something like that. It's going to be key to going after those types of models. All right, so now the first example, let's say you have a unit that is on the other side of this ruin. It might be infiltrate unit, Terminator unit with infiltrate, something like that. But with us, we really don't want to have Armor Contempt, something that's going to benefit them when we try and charge them. So when I set up my Cypher, or when I set up my Khaled, it's two different setups. But when I set up my Cypher, I want to set them up kind of not all the way in the back that they're not really going to be doing anything. I'm going to be setting them up somewhere up front where I know that if they advance out, they can at least get into the fray somewhere and set up for turn 2 or turn 3. Because turn 1, you're not really going to be doing anything with them. They're just going to kind of be setting up and waiting until later in the game where you're actually going to be needing them to go out. So when I set up my Cypher, I'm going to be setting up, let's say, like right here, if not back a little bit further away from the wall, because I really don't want them to die. If they die on first or second turn, you definitely messed up their placement. But if I start my Cypher right there, that is where I'm going to set up where he can advance out, 6 plus d6, where he can go either from here out to there, and then set up next turn where he can then advance up to here and basically just sit there the rest of the game. So my goal is to get him from there to there, or depending on where the army goes, but that is where I'm trying to get them to go, so that way I can then advance them any direction where I need them to go. So that's one option. Second option is you can just start him in a Rhino. Sometimes when you move the Rhino up, the Rhino can then scooch up 12 inches. He can then get out of the Rhino another 3. So basically you already moved him up to here. You just have to be very careful with him, because if anybody else is in the Rhino, you got to get them out of the Rhino, make sure like they're surrounding him so he doesn't die. Or if you have another unit like a Cursed Cultist unit where it's just a huge blob, they start here, they then just advance up with him, they kind of go in front of him to make sure that he's protected. Right, so they're like in front of Cypher, so that way he can't be charged in any of the phases, because if he dies, you kind of mess up the whole Vect opportunity. So that is going to be my goal, is to get Cypher from there up to there to set up staging for the next turn. He does really, really well turn 3 and turn 4, sometimes turn 2 if you get him in the right spot. But now for the other opponent, they have to watch out for him. They have to basically stay away from that 12-inch bubble, because once the one guy touches that 12-inch bubble, everything is now 1 extra CP. Overwatch, Armor Contempt, Mist of Deimos, there's so many good grenade, there's so many good stratagems that either cost 1, they're free, which then they have to go now up to 1, or they cost 2, which then turn to 3. Anytime somebody has to spend 3 CP to interrupt, or heroic, used to be heroic intervention, but fight on death, anything like that happens, you're at such a huge CP advantage, because they're never planning to spend 3 CP for something like that. 2 is like, yeah, okay, I'm going to spend 2 CP, but when they have to spend 3, they're either starting their next turn on 0, or instead of starting their next turn on 1, they now start at 2, they start at 1, which is a huge difference, huge swing, because now in their turn, they can't interrupt again or do whatever they want to do next turn. So that little body block right here with the guys protecting Cypher, this unit now really wanted to get into there, just couldn't. Let me pull up a really good example from the last LSO game that we played. So here's a live game example of us playing an LSO against a Blood Angel player. Now, him against melee armies, really, really good, because they want to come at you. If they get a charge off, usually when they get the charge off, they have to do a CP strat to do some extra combo, like precision or +1 AP or plus whatever it may be. But also works negatively, because now if they're stuck in combat, they can't do fight on death, they can't do armor contempt, they can't do any of that stuff, because now they're stuck right next to Cypher. And if you look in this blob right here, this is how we play our Cypher. Our Cypher, when I zoom in, now this is a proxy model with the Cypher. I had to borrow somebody else's Cypher when I was on live stream. But this guy right here is our Cypher. He's got the 2 pistols, he's got the plasma pistol, the bolt pistol, his sword in the back. So this was our Cypher when we were playing until we got on stream, then we had to proxy it. But see where this Cypher is? 12-inch bubble goes so far. If he's here, and this is his death company that charge into my Seekers, kill the Seekers, now they're there, that 12-inch bubble gets all the way out to the back of this little objective right here. Like, that's how far the 12-inch bubble goes. So now that he's there, I can then use Cypher to kind of just run up this way and like kind of poke his head in this little terrain, because he has blown up, so you don't have to be worried about getting shot from too far away. But if he goes there, he can then just put a bunch of pistols and shots into the death company. But now the death company is going to cost 3 CP to do a fight on death, or interrupt, or heroic interrupt, whatever it's called, where they spend 2 CP and interrupt in between combats. Now it's going to cost 3 CP. So if he only has 2 CP, you know that's not an option. You know that he can't interrupt, he can't fight on death, he can't do anything. So you're going into this turn way more aggressive than you were to go into it, because you knew that he had those other 2 for 2 CP. So you're basically planning out your turn to just be super hostile, just because you have Cypher with Vect. This goes for any other model with Vect on your side. You can have a Swarm Lord, you can have the Kairos demon bird thing, you can have Bjorn, the Fellhand. Like, there's so many really cool Vect models in 40k. Even the Kaldis Assassin, if I'm an Imperial unit and he charges into me, I can then just drop in my Kaldis Assassin outside 12, or right at 12 inches away, so that way no matter what, he's always going to be within 12 inches, and then he can't do anything on the fight phase. Because now at the start of my turn, or at the end of his turn, I pick up Kaldis, and then I put her back down wherever I need her to be, and then boom, there's the perfect Vect target. So this is an example of being super cautious, keeping him back so he doesn't get charged by any direction. And then also, when he does commit, I can then advance him either up this way, down towards him, use him to be get some shots off, or even advance him down this way. Because if I advance him, 6 plus 3, I'm within 12 inches of now this unit, which I brought in, some guys down here to move up and get some shots off. I think I brought in my red unit down here. I forget, but he's now in the middle of the board where he can go either north, south, or just straight at the opponent. But that's a live example of how we used our Cypher to use the Vect as we possibly, the easiest way that we possibly could. And if you guys seen my LSO video I just posted yesterday, here's another example. This is against the sister player. So if we could find Cypher, which I believe is somewhere in this mix-up of bullcrap, he's probably right here behind the wall. So the Cypher model was able to kind of take the blunt force of the charge from these guys. So he basically killed my little unit, consolidated on the point, but now Cypher's there in case he were to interrupt or fight on death or whatever it may be. He can't, because he didn't have enough CP. So Cypher just being around is able to kind of just be annoying for the opponent with their CP management, CP regeneration, to just be there. So very super defensive. If you need to be offensive, you have to kind of throw him out there and make sure that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing by making people spend more CP. Here's another live example. This is more offensive because we kind of had him in his deployment zone when we were making this fight. So my Cypher right now is behind this little barricade right here where he can't really be seen. He's protected by some cultists. He's protected by a rhino. And all I have to do is basically advance him out this way and kind of put him within 12 inches of the Terminator unit, which I do. So the Terminator captain is up front, so I know he's going to be the last one to die. So every time I measure my distance, I'm measuring from somebody that I know is probably going to be around still, whether it be a captain, a tank, or whatever it may be. His other characters up here. So if I move up Cypher just 6 inches, I am now within 12 inches of this unit's character and then this unit's character. So now that way, if he were to do heroic intervention, interruption, armor contempt, whatever T-Sons have that could be super defensively, which I don't think they have a lot. Overwatch for T-Sons is perfect for this. So basically you advance up Cypher before you move anybody else, right? And now that Overwatch is going to cost 2 on top of everything else that they want to do. So if they only have 2 CP, then they're going to waste it on Overwatch if they wanted to do something later on. So Cypher right there is an offensive way to use him, where he was set up there by turn 2, and then turn 3 he moves up, and now he's within 12 inches of basically his entire army. So that's a really good offensive example of how you're using your Cypher to make it cost more CP for overwatching. All right, and then last game against the Demons, we're actually going to do a second part of the Demon game because it was streamed on War Games Live. So shout out to Joe. I'll appreciate everything that he does. This game, at the end of the game, he only had 1 CP, and my Cypher were basically camped where that little thing was right there. That was the actual Cypher. So he was basically camping right there the entire game. He was protected by all the guys around, so he can't drop down and kind of flame or do whatever he wants to him. So he was protected by everybody. And also, if he came near me, he can then run out to any direction to make sure I get the whatever on. So by turn 5, his big greater demon, the character one with the busted up wings, this guy, he was basically in my backfield just slaying all the dudes in the backfield. But to win the game, or to get more points in the game, I had a unit of cultists on this top objective. He was trying to advance and charge those cultists on the top objective, but he couldn't because Cypher was still alive within 12 inches of him, so he only had 1 CP. So his goal then was to move up 8, Flamer Cypher, kill Cypher, and then try and get a re-rollable charge to try and roll an 8 to get on my other objective. He failed with the re-roll, but still, if Cypher was alive, he wouldn't have even been able to re-roll. So he had the chance to try and kill Cypher and then have a chance to do, 2 CP, 1 CP with a re-roll, whatever it may be. But if he would have just tried to advance, he would not have even had the opportunity to do the charge. So that's a late game turn 5 game winning Cypher. Now here's another tidbit: if you have Cypher, don't dark pact. I learned my lesson at LSO. Don't dark pact with Cypher. Every time you dark pact and fail, you basically kill yourself. And if Cypher was on full wounds going into turn 5, which he would have been if I didn't dark pact, I would have lived, and then he wouldn't have been able to do the reroll for the charge on the other objective, and not even question winning LSO with that. So here's an example of late game Cypher being in the same position that he was at basically most of the game, and then him getting into my deployment zone to try and do a reroll or try and do a advanced charge, which then he can't because of how big Cypher's bubble was. So Cypher, legit, so good with Vect, and helped me out so much in LSO. It is just crazy good. So I really just wanted to bring it to people's attention on how good Vect is right now in 10.5. You guys have to plan that you're going to be facing it. If you play an Imperial army and they don't have a Kaldis Assassin, I don't think they're playing it correctly. If they're playing a Chaos Space Marine list and they don't have Cypher, I don't think they're playing it correctly. Honestly, I think if you don't have these 2 in your armies, which again, we're selling them on Discord, but if you don't have these 2 in your army, get them in your army and just practice with them. You might play 1 or 2 games where they die too soon, learn from those mistakes like myself and Jack do all the time. But if you are going against them, they're going to try and be one of the ones you're going to go after as soon as possible. If there's any way to come down within 3 and just nuke a character, that's going to be the guy you really want to go after, whether it be the Kaldis Assassin or Cypher. But if you're playing them on your side, you want to be really defensive with them. You don't want to throw them out. They are 90 to 100 points per of these guys, unless you're playing a big character with Vect. But these guys are going to be crucial to turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, and turn 5. Like, they are going to be crucial late game pieces to try and cost people more CP. Mostly at that point of the game, we're running low on CP, or you're already tabled your opponent. But if we're running low on CP, example, the Demons player, where he's using CP every single game to pick up his guys, drop them down, Overwatch, countercharge, interrupt, all that stuff. By the end of the game, when you only go into turn 5 with 1 CP and there's still a Cypher Kaldis Assassin on the table, you're like, shit, I have to literally run away from them to not spend that CP that I wasn't planning on spending. So I think Vect is just insane right now, especially being able for it to work on any stratagem. Hopefully it stays that way, because I do kind of like it being able to work on any stratagem. It's that 4D chess. They added an extra piece on the chessboard where now you have to think about playing around it, killing it, or ignoring it by just kind of like running on the other side of the table and or saving up enough CPU to say, hey, screw it, I'm just going to spend 3 CPU for the interrupt anyway. But this is just going to be insane. So guys, get ready for the Vect. Get ready to face it, get ready to practice for it. If you guys don't put it in your list, put it in your list, and you will see this at a lot of GTs, RTTs, and competitive play moving forward. So hopefully this helped you out a little tidbit. I'm going to do specific videos on Cypher. I'm going to do specific videos on Kaldis Assassin. And if there's any suggestions you guys want to see that have Vect that maybe I missed, or you want to see a video on it, let me know. I'll definitely do a specific video on a specific guy. I'll just do a quick like 5-minute video. Hey, if you have this guy with Vect, this is kind of what you could be doing. But guys, I appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything. Let me know what you guys think of Vect. Do you like it? Do you want it to go away? Do you think it's like, it doesn't really bother me? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Appreciate it. Good luck, and we'll see you in another video soon. What's up, gents? 40K Dirtbags here. If you guys are thinking about joining the Patreon page, we're going to go over each tier and how it's going to benefit you and what you're looking for specifically to get out of 40K in 10th edition coming up. There's a lot of stuff to go over. There's a lot of tactical videos up on the channel, which is for free. There's going to be a bunch of perks that you get specifically for being a part of the Dirtbag Nation Patreon page. So first off, we have the first tier, which is $1 a month. You guys get first access to the videos over at patreon.com. You also get access to the Discord, which is specifically a private link in the Discord that only Patreon members can see. So you guys will have first access to that. Also a benefit is Patreons over the Dirtbag Nation get live streamed games on patreon.com streamed from YouTube, but there's only links specifically for the patreons.com. So not only do you get first access to these videos, you also get to see live stream games specifically only on patreon.com. The next tier is the Justicar. You guys get a shout out on every single video on YouTube. You also get to support us a little bit more. You get first dibs at voting on Discord, as well as you just kind of say, hey, I just want to be a Justicar Dirtbag and support you guys a little bit more than that $1 a month tier. But you get all the same access as well as the different color over on the Discord. So the third tier is the competitive Dirtbag. This tier, you get a lot more one-on-one coaching. This is a lot of the Dirtbags over on the Dirtbag Nation. They are able to send out messages one-on-one, go over list ideas, tactics, anything you guys want to talk about. When I was getting into 40K, or really any game in general, I always wanted to message the top players in the meta and just ask them questions. This $10 a month tier gets you that opportunity to message us one-on-one on Discord, so that way we can actually coach you, give you our insights, suggestions, and that's going to get you better at the 40K 10th edition as a whole. So that tier alone, just $10 a month to have one-on-one coaching, one-on-one messages anytime throughout the month, that's going to be a perfect tier for you guys. Even if you're brand new to the game, we go over 1,000-point list, 1,500-point list, 2,000-point brand new starting list, team list, anything you guys need, that's what the competitive Dirtbag tier is for. Also, you get a little bit of red number name tag on Discord, so people know that you're really serious about getting into the competitive scene. The Grandmaster Dirtbags. This is the all-in-all $25 a month tier. You get one-on-one coaching, everything we said prior to this, but you guys get to see me, Mike, any of the other Dirtbags play your specific list that you want to see tested out live on one of our battle reports. You guys get to mention, suggest videos you guys want to see coming up on patreon.com. So you guys get the above first tier benefit of everything that we do over at Dirtbag Nation. All the support mainly comes from you guys supporting us over here at Dirtbag Nation. And Grandmasters, I can't thank you enough, but for $25 a month, you get one-on-one coaching and anything you want to see live on the tabletop. So you get to see a professional play right in front of you. You guys get to kind of like see it one-on-one, and I'm actually making this specifically for you. There's also TTS events that you guys can suggest. If you guys want to do a first 1 or 2 turn run through on TTS, we can actually log in and coach you one-on-one with that. If you guys see us at any GTs, you guys get special benefits, free dice, stuff like that. Anytime you purchase a merch thing on Discord, you guys get a free limited edition Dirtbag dice sent to you with every single purchase on top of that. So there's a lot of benefits coming up with the Grandmaster Dirtbag. Because I can't thank you enough for supporting us. definitely let me know which tier would be best for you if you go over to patreon.com and specifically go to a tier. And make sure you don't forget to message me up on Discord. That's where we check every single day. If you guys are really into getting into 10th edition 40K, head over to Patreon, join the Competitive Dirtbag or the Grandmaster. Message me as many times as you possibly want, and I'll coach you the best I possibly can on any specific army that you guys play. Mainly our armies right now, currently, going into 2024 is going to be Chaos Space Marines, Grey Knights, Death Guard, and then we have Custodes, Sisters, and I think that's it going into the Wings of 2024. But again, any other army that you guys play, we have other coaches lined up for the Dirtbags that are ready to take on that role of the Competitive Dirtbag page. So guys, really appreciate it. Thanks for clicking on the video. Thanks for joining the Dirtbag Nation if you guys are already a part of us. And we'll see you in another video soon.